Hey everybody, it's hot outside. We've been doing some yard work and now we're getting ready to cool off and go inside and make something that my whole family loves. Homemade spaghetti sauce. So if you're using that stuff in a can or a jar and you want to learn how I do it, I'll show you my way. It's very simple. And to me it tastes a lot better than a can or a jar. So if you want to learn how to make my style of homemade spaghetti sauce, stay tuned. Alright guys, we're in the kitchen and a lot cooler in here. It's hot outside. Anyway, here's all the ingredients that we're using for spaghetti sauce. Now it looks like a lot, but it's really not that bad. So let me go over what we're using here. I'm probably going to use about 3 ribs of this celery. Like I say, I'll make a lot because we got a daughter that lives down here close by and she likes to take some sauce with her, and we eat it for several days. But anyway, we're using about 3 ribs of celery, 2 pounds of ground beef. Usually 1 green pepper will be enough, but we have these smaller ones that come out of the garden, so we're going to use all those. We got 2 packs of mushrooms, 1 onion. We got some fresh tomatoes that we grew in the garden, and then some that my friends Fred and Sherry gave us, little baby purple tomatoes. I ate half of them, and I thought, well, I'll save the rest for my tomato sauce. And then we got 3 small cans of diced tomatoes, and these have chilies in them, and these down here have roasted garlic and onions. We got 1 can of Rotel Original. We use that just to spice it up a little bit. We got a 15-ounce can of sauce, tomato sauce, and a smaller can of tomato paste. You can use a large sauce and no paste, or a large sauce and a small paste, or 2 small sauces and paste, whatever you want. I just use it for flavor. So anyway, then on our spices, we have onion powder, oregano, Italian seasoning, garlic powder. We don't ever use garlic salt or onion salt. It's always powder. We have chili powder, crushed red peppers, black pepper, and this is that freeze-dried garlic that we use instead of using a whole real clove, which is better. We just use this for convenience. And then we're going to be using some olive oil and salt. Now we don't use salt in a round tube with a little girl and an umbrella on it or anything, because that's bad salt. We use real salt, or either Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt. But this right here actually comes from Utah, and it comes from an ancient salt bed, and so it's healthy. It don't have any contaminants or anything, and you can eat this, and it really, I don't think, raises your blood pressure. It's actually healthy for you because it's got a lot of minerals in it. So I'm not promoting that for the company. It's just what I use. Try to get people off the bad salt and use good stuff. So anyway, I'm going to throw all this together and prep it, and well, actually not throw it together, but we're going to prep it up, and then I'll show you how to put it together. So stay tuned. All right, here we go. We already put some olive oil in our pan here and let it get warm. Turn that down a little bit. First thing we're going to do is saute our onions and peppers. You don't have to do any of this sauteing, but to me it just speeds up the process, and I think it brings the flavor of the vegetables out a little bit. So we'll saute the onions and peppers. Oh, it already smells good. And it doesn't take but just a minute just to kind of make them a little tender. Once those get going a little bit, I'll take my celery. So we got onions, peppers, celery. That was 3 ribs. We'll kind of stir that up a little bit. Let that cook for a second. Like I say, to me it just brings out the flavor. So, you know, you do it how you want. I have done it without sauteing, just dump it all in the tomatoes and sauce and all and cook it that way, but like I say, I like doing this. So like I say, that's that. And then we'll go ahead and dump our mushrooms in. Like I say, we like a lot, so we got a lot of mushrooms, healthy mushrooms. So we'll saute them a little bit. All right. while those are cooking, I got some of my salt. I carry it in a bag for when I go to a restaurant or somewhere. I can take me some good salt, and it's really good. It's actually good for you. So we're going to put about a teaspoon of salt in that and let that cook around a little bit. All right, we're going to let this cook, and I'll get back with you when they're done. All right, the vegetables are just about where I want them. They've cooked about 5 minutes. So now we're going to fry up the ground beef. Use more olive oil. We're just going to throw this in here. And the pot was already hot. We've been letting it warm up a little bit on the burner there. I like to use pots to fry in sometimes like this because it doesn't go splattering out and jumping out of your pan and all that. But I do it my way. You do it your way. If you like a pan, use a pan. I wish I had some cast iron. That'd be great. So anyway, as this is getting fried up, this is where I like to add some of my seasonings to the meat. Make sure we're recording here. Oh yeah. Okay, so anyway, to my meat, I always add the chili powder to the meat. And I'll probably add more. But you know, probably a teaspoon, half teaspoon, depends on if you like chili powder. I do. And then I'll go ahead and add some of the garlic powder. Just a few sprinkles there. A few sprinkles of onion powder. We'll use some more of that later on. Dakota wants to be in the way down here. I don't know if you can see him or not, but anyway. So we'll get this fried up and browned. And we'll also put some salt in here too. You hear me talking about salt, everybody says salt's bad, so I've got a different opinion on that. If you're using the right salt, it's not bad, and most of the time you can eat all you want with this stuff, even if you have high blood pressure. A lot of times, well, I can't say that. I have heard people say that their blood pressure has regulated and gotten better, but you know, that's everybody's opinion. So anyway, I think I'm going to add some more olive oil in here. All right, let me get this fried up and I'll get back with you. All right, we've got the ground beef cooked, the vegetables are ready. Now I'm going to do something a lot of people's going to think, ugh. All right, a lot of times they say drain your ground beef. Look at there. I don't drain my ground beef. I just dump it in there. We got the onions and peppers in there. Let's give that a little stir. All right, you still got some moisture from the onions and peppers. And like I say, this is pretty easy to do. After you get all that in there, then you dump 2 cans of tomatoes. Now, like I say, we're doing a lot, so most of you will probably just use 1 can of tomatoes, 1 can of sauce, 1 can of paste, a small can of Rotel. Dump all that in. And then put the sauce in. And then we're going to throw our tomatoes in that we had. And this freeze-dried garlic, a teaspoon is a clove. So we'll just put some in. We like it. All right, we'll get that in there. Try and get this paste out. Paste is sticky. All right, smells good. All right, so after you get that, we're going to start adding some water. I start off with 2 cans, tomato cans of water. And we stir it up and see where we're at. That looks pretty good. You can see how much we got there, and this will cook down. You may have to add a little more, but this is kind of going to be thick sauce, a little thicker than we usually do, which is good. Okay, sorry about that. We had some problems with the camera. I put 2.5 cans of water in here, and then I started adding my seasonings. I put about a teaspoon of chili powder. Actually, 1.5 teaspoons sounds pretty good. And we're just getting ready to add the crushed peppers, and probably about 1 teaspoon of those. Everything's usually about 1 teaspoon. This is the Italian seasoning. I put just a little over 1 teaspoon. Like I said, we don't measure, we just pour it in. And then we already have garlic in there, but we're going to add some garlic powder. Like I said, we like a lot of flavor. Just a little over 1 teaspoon. And then the onion powder. Probably about 1 tablespoon. All right, so we're going to stir this up, and I need some more salt in there a bit, but what you do is stir it up and then give it a little taste. Tastes pretty darn good. I'm going to throw some more salt in there, about another teaspoon. All right, we're going to cook it and let it simmer probably for about an hour. If you put your vegetables in there raw, just after about an hour, pull your vegetables out and taste them and see if they're crunchy or soft or however you like it. We like ours chunky, so if it's not totally cooked through or a little firm, we don't care. But anyway, we'll be back when the sauce is done. Okay. While I was putting spices in, I forgot the black pepper, so don't forget your black pepper. About 1 teaspoon of that. And then I forgot to tell you, I cook it with a lid on it. Put it on there and just let it simmer. We got it up to 8 on my oven stove, so we're going to cut it down to just under 4, so around 3. We're just going to let it sit there. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, it's been cooking for about 30 minutes. I meant to tell you, stir it every once in a while, maybe every 15 minutes or so. Get them flavors mixed up and make sure it's not sticking to the bottom or anything. But we're going to take for the next 30 minutes and let it cook and simmer with the lid off, and that'll thicken it up just a little bit. So give us just a little bit and we'll be back. All right, it's been an hour. Our spaghetti sauce is done, and it looks delicious. Look at there. It's rich, chunky, saucy, homemade spaghetti sauce. Let's give it a little try here. I got a spoon that I've been letting cool. So here we go. Man, that's delicious. Let's get some plated up and we'll let you see how it is. All right, there we go. Homemade spaghetti sauce and our spaghetti. If you don't know how to do the noodles, you just put some water in a pot, put a little olive oil in there with a little salt, bring it to a boil, and cook them until they're tender. I just grab one and see how they are, and that's how you do it. So subscribe to this channel if you like what you see. Hit the notification bell. We also have a metal detecting channel, and it's called I Dig the Carolinas. If you'd check that out, if you're interested in metal detecting, we would appreciate it. Catch you next time.